Hey everyone, welcome to Kingdom Builder TV. I'm your host, Kelly Meade, and today I'm excited to be talking with an artist whose new single, Right on Time, is out everywhere now. Iveth Luna, it's so great to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So, for our viewers who may not be as familiar with you as an artist, can you share a little bit about what first drew you to music and your journey so far?
Yeah, I grew up in a family of worship leaders, pastors, and musicians. So I was constantly surrounded by church music and worship music, and I enjoyed it. And then at some age, I think when I was especially 13, I had this growing desire in my heart to want to lead worship, especially after watching my uncles lead worship and the passion that they had for it. And it somehow became my passion too. So that was how it first started.
That's awesome. I love how a lot of times our family history and everything can just lead right into where we're meant to be and the path that God has for us. So that's really cool.
Worship has always been a calling on my life, and I've felt it deeply as a little girl. But I didn't know it was a calling. I just felt a deep passion in my heart for worship music and this deep desire to sing for the Lord. And so throughout my whole life, I've had this sensation, this deep belief in my heart that I was going to sing for Jesus. And so I've carried this for throughout my life. And then I got to sing at church when I was a teenager. When I was 16, I was doing background vocals for my the worship team, and that's where I got experience from in harmony and just musical experience. Years later, I went to college, and I wanted to major in music, but my dad is an awesome dad. He's thinking practically. You got to also pay the bills when you grow up. So I majored in business marketing and I ended up graduating and getting a degree in that. But one of the things that my dad told me um, was if it's meant for you, God will open the doors. And so I believe that for everyone. If it's meant for you, if God called you to it, God will open the doors that need to be open and he will close the doors that need to be closed. And so I believed my dad and I had faith for that. And so I stepped into college and it was Oklahoma Baptist University and I made my best friends there. Freshman year, there was this worship night that it was student led and it was off campus. And so I would go to that with my friends every other Thursday. And it was just like a thing that we did. And one worship night, I went and we were just singing. No one knew I led worship, but I was just singing with my friends. And then the Lord spoke to me. And it felt like I had a vision and he just spoke future over me and he said that I would sing for him. And I just cried. I cried the whole night and I just felt his love. I've never felt God or experienced God in this way. It's only happened once in my life and it's marked me forever. That was when I was 19 and I'm 29. That was 10 years ago. And it's the reason why I still sing today because he spoke to me in that way and he affirmed it in me. And so um, I began to chase this calling in my life. And so God began to open these doors, but it didn't happen right away. I was a freshman then, and it took 3 years for me to finally step into it. One, because fear always held me back, and two, because I wasn't ready. And so I ended up auditioning for like a worship team at my college. And I made it in, but the journey for that was crazy because there was like 60 other vocalists uh, vocal majors auditioning and I was the only business major and I just felt so unqualified. So if I can if I can share this with anyone, God qualifies the unqualified. So if he's called you to it, you might not have the skill set for it. He's going to qualify you. He will open the doors even if you don't feel like you're ready for it. He will open the doors at the right time. And so I went through this whole audition process, but I was fearful of being rejected and fearful of being let down. And so it took a lot of tears. It took a lot of calling my dad. It took a lot of praying. But I ended up auditioning for it and I got the only female lead spot and I was the only business major there. And so that was my first experience um, experiencing God's faithfulness just for me on my own, because I saw it throughout my parents' faith, but it was my first personal experience. Like, whoa, God, you really kept your word. Whoa, like this is you and me. This is our relationship. You spoke to me. I was obedient. I auditioned, and you were like, it's yours. So it was my first time getting to experience him in that way. And long story short, I chased this dream after college because I was so passionate about it and the Lord gave me that word. But then this dream became an idol. And I did American Idol, I did The Voice. And when I got rejected from American Idol, I was so close. I met the celebrities, and the door closed in my face. I became really discouraged, and this discouragement turned into depression. I spiraled, and I began to doubt everything that God had spoken over my life. And when one thing goes wrong from the promise, we can tend to be shaken from it, and it shakes everything. It shakes our faith. We begin to question. We begin to doubt. That's so human. So be okay with the emotions of that, but don't stay there. Let it, okay, like let yourself feel those feelings, and that's healthy. That's normal. That's human. But at some point, you have to get up. And I didn't. I didn't get up. I tried, but I just let it overtake me. And I was so discouraged. And for months, I didn't really want to sing anymore. And then the depression got pretty bad. And I'd stopped reading my Bible, and I'd stopped praying. I got tired of it. I got lazy. I was angry. I just had so many emotions that I let take over. And I didn't put my emotions under the authority of God. I just let them take over me. And so emotions are good, but we can't let those dictate and overtake us. We have to have some sort of self control. And so I feel like it starts with spending time with the Lord. When you spend time with the Lord, you refresh your spirit and you gain strength. And I just wasn't doing that anymore. I called my best friend and I told her, hey, I'm going through depression. And I was just crying on the phone. And she had just gotten married. I didn't want to burden her. She drove down from Oklahoma and she spent the weekend with me. And she said, I'm taking you to church. So we went to church and it was great, but my heart was still hardened. And we had a good weekend, and it's what I needed to fill my cup. But weeks later, the depression got worse. And so I got desperate and I just went to that church by myself and I sat in the second row and I was desperate. I said, God, I need you to meet me because I can barely get up in the mornings. I don't know how I'm going to live if I can't have this moment with you. And the worship music started and I hadn't cried in a long time. See, when you go through depression, you don't really feel much. You're mainly numb. And so worship music started and first song was playing and the worship leader started singing, and by the second song I was in tears. And I don't remember the last time I had cried in worship. And I felt the Lord move in the room and I felt his power, and I didn't hear him audibly say this, but I just felt in my spirit that he said, I'm bigger than your depression. I'm greater than your depression. And I felt like he instantly broke the chains right then and there. And I'm crying, ugly, like I'm not pretty crying. I'm a mess in this church, and my mascara is gone, and my whole makeup and face, it's just gone. And I'm crying throughout the sermon. And it was what my heart needed. And I just kept coming and I kept coming and I kept coming. And then I felt the Lord speaking to me again. And I felt him saying, get prepared and keep coming. And I kept coming. Then I felt him say, get ready, months later. And I'm like, what? Okay, sure. I will keep coming. I'll get ready for I don't know what. And then I was like, I was back with the Lord. We were like besties again. And I was spending time with him and I was hearing his voice again. And get ready just felt like I felt it ringing in my spirit. One of my friends asked me to sing at one of her shows during intermission, and I just sang one original song. And there happened to be an A&R person that was friends with songwriters in Nashville, and we connected. And she was like, "I need you to meet these people," and I started writing with them. And then the Lord, I felt, get ready. I kept hearing that, and a month later, I was writing with people in Nashville, and 2 months later, I got signed to a record label. So that is the story of how I came to music.
I love that. And I'm so grateful that you took the time to share that because I think it's important for people to know, like, really kind of some of the stuff that goes on in the lives of the artists and everything, and what brings you to this time, and like really your faith journey as well that goes into your music. And I feel like a lot of times that does come through in your songwriting and your singles. And I think it does, we can hear it, and especially when you can proclaim his faithfulness through all of that you've been through. And it's not to, take away from anything that you've experienced, but as you were saying, how important it is to not stay there and to be able to just cling to your faith and keep coming back and keep, even though it may feel very far away, but keep coming back to him because he will draw you closer. So yes,
Yeah,
I really appreciate you sharing that.
of course, of course. And I feel like the pain, the fire can either make you bitter or you can grow from it.
Mhm.
And so we get to decide, all right, what am I going to let this pain have its way? And I will stay in bitterness and I can be angry at God and never grow from this? Or will I feel my feelings and then call upon the name of the Lord and he will save me and I'll have a testimony and I'll have a story. So I feel like I had to fight for my faith. And one of the things that my church does is they have these 12 stones, which is like 12 things that we believe, and it's all biblical. But one of them is we fight for surrender. And surrender is where we allow the Lord to come fully and meet us. Because in order to surrender, our hands have to be open. And we have to say, here it is, have it, have your way, God. So full surrender is when you're allowing the Lord to move in your life. And so the fire can either leave you bitter or leave you, or you can have a testimony from it. So, anyways,
Absolutely. So I really loved the EP Just Like Jesus that came out last year. In You and
thank
Believe
you.
are especially encouraging to me.
Oh,
The new single, Right on Time, that's quickly become a favorite as well. Where did the inspiration for that come, and what was the process for writing Right on Time?
yeah. Okay, so right on time, you know, I sometimes get ahead of myself and um I have always been an impatient person growing up, and God has taught me patience. Oh my goodness, He really has. And in every season of my life, I have seen God's faithfulness and His perfect timing. I had my whole life planned out with a timeline, and God was like, no, actually, it's going to be my timing. And I've seen His faithfulness in that in every single season. I can look back and look at God's perfect timing. And so, in that season, I think I had just gotten engaged and I just knew it was God's perfect timing in that. And I just knew that instead of having anxiety or fear about the future, I can rejoice because my God is for me and He has good plans for me and He knows the best timing. And He's done that in the past and He's going to do that in the future. So it was my song of looking forward to the future and not in fear, but in celebration because I trust my God that He has perfect timing every single time. So that's kind of where that song came birthed out of.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that so many of us can relate to, especially myself being like, he does have the absolute perfect timing no matter what's going on in our lives, and he will just bring us to where we're meant to be when we're supposed to be there.
Mhm.
So we also need to talk a little bit about the music video for Right on Time because it's so much fun to watch and it looks like it was just a blast to film.
Thank you. It was so much fun to record. Literally, I just feel like there was so much joy that whole day. We had such a fun time filming it. What do you want to know about it?
Let's see. What was one of your favorite parts to do?
Um, oh, well, I'll say this. Uh, Before that we even filmed the music video, I like to go on a run and listen to music. And I think that's where my inspiration comes from. And so when I need to hear from the Lord, I just listen to worship music and I just go on a run. And I feel like I hear him so clearly. And so when I found out that we were going to do a music video for Right on Time, I brought my headphones and I just started running. And I felt like I've always had a really big imagination. Even as a little girl going on road trips, I would just imagine music videos. I don't know why. I have no explanation for that. But so I still have that same feeling when I go on runs. And so I just allowed myself to listen to Right on Time over and over and over again as I was running. And I felt like I was getting ideas. And then I would stop and like write them down in my notes. And then finished this whole draft. And then I send it to my team, and they're like, "Let's do it! Like we can do this." So we hired out an excellent videographer. His name is Elliot, and he just made it all come to life and with color. And so I would say one of my favorite scenes. It's really honestly, I can't choose a favorite. They were all equally incredible. But my favorite part about the music video is that my husband got to be a part of it. So we're newlyweds. I still consider us newlyweds. We're a year in. And he was in the music video. He's one of my background dancers. And then the final scene, when we're in the church with the colorful colors, he's the one that catches me. I kind of fall down and he catches me. And so it was really special to get have him a part of that.
I love that. That's awesome that you're able to have that like memory and that moment to share together. So you've also recorded and released Spanish versions for several of your songs, which I think is
Mhm.
really cool because I've always thought Spanish is such a beautiful language and I love listening to music in Spanish as well. So, what does it mean to you to be able to release your music in this way?
It means the world to me to release music in Spanish. One, because I grew up in it. I grew up in a bilingual church, and we sang in English and in Spanish, and a bilingual home. We spoke in English and Spanish. Sometimes we spoke Spanglish. And so but Spanish was the first language I experienced the Lord in worship. So honestly, I feel like I'm going back to my roots singing in Spanish, and I owe it to people who want to experience the lyrics in these songs and want to um, worship along in their native language. And so it, I'm just so grateful that I get to record my music in Spanish. And honestly, my grandma would be mad at me if I didn't. So.
That's awesome. So I know you're out on the road right now, and you've been doing some dates
Mhm.
with Micah Tyler and also Mike Donahue from 10th Avenue North. What's one of
Mhm.
your favorite parts of being on the road?
Ooh, I just posted this on my Instagram story, I think. But okay, obviously I love meeting the people. I love hearing their stories. Um, I love seeing their faces and just the hearing the story of, you know, how God has brought them through something, or even just hearing, sitting with them in the moments where I am going through this and getting to pray for them. That's my favorite part. I love the people. And that's like the greatest commandment that God told us to do is to love one another as you love yourself. Well, one is love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul. But second, love one another as you love yourself. So it's just, I don't know, I'm just really grateful and I'm filled with joy that I even get to do this and get to serve these people in this way and that they feel blessed by the music. But my second favorite part is trying all the local coffee shops in the different cities. So I'm currently at a local coffee shop right now.
That's fun. Yeah, it's always cool to get to experience different places and just get to explore a little bit. So I'm glad that you're
Mhm.
having the time to do that in the different places that you're in. And also going back to what you said about being able to connect with the audience. I think that's one of the absolute
Mhm.
best things about like concerts and live music is just being around the people, and as a fan myself going to shows and getting to have,
Mhm.
we know we already have that in common. So it's like I've met so many awesome friends through concerts too. So definitely the connection is so cool. But looking ahead to the rest of the year, is there anything you can share that you have coming up that you're excited about?
Well, I'm currently on tour and I'm looking forward to continue being on tour because I'm out until July, the end of July, and there may be more dates being added to my calendar. So I've just really enjoyed this and the experience of touring and the experience of meeting the people and sharing my songs. Um, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to new releases next month and this summer to come. And so a few songs that I've been holding on to and I'm ready to share with the world. I'm excited for that. And I think that's about it. And yeah, but if there's anything more, you can always check out my website and all the other social things.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely looking forward to the new music coming up, and I'll be keeping an eye on your tour dates as well. And I want to encourage everyone to visit ivethluna.com, connect with Yvette on social media, and stream her music everywhere it's available, especially Right on Time, the new single, and check out that music video on her YouTube channel. I will be sure to link her website and all of her social media pages in the description below this video, so it'll be easy for you guys to find. Yvette, thank you so much for taking the time to do this today. This has been awesome.
Thank you so much. I've had a great time.